That's an obvious question here. You got one of the hottest lines in the NHL with Nugent Hopkins, and
You don't want to talk about Clef?
well, we'll get to Oscar in a second. But based on the morning skate today, it looks like Ryan's up with Connor. Just a thought on sort of breaking up a super hot line, but also maybe trying to get
Trying to find some balance, trying to find it goes back, when we added the players, we knew we were going to take some time and tinker and to see where everybody fits, and we've juggled some things around and had some looks at different things, and as you go on, you're just trying to find the right mix, and that line has been so good. I've been really hesitant to break them up, but where we're at right now, I want to see if we can get better. The old saying, if it's not broke, don't fix it. Well, if it's not broke, you haven't looked hard enough. So we've got some other things that I want to see get better on our group, and we'll try little tweaks. And we know that line can be really good if we put them back together, and it's an easy flip. But we'll see where it can go with Connor. And Connor's played some with Nugent Hopkins and Cassian before, so he's familiar with that. So we'll see how that goes.
Of all of Oscar's attributes, what have you missed most not having him?
Him playing his minutes, because without his minutes there, everybody else has to take more minutes, and you get them into stages where they get exposed a little bit. So everybody, when Oscar's minutes comes in, Nurse's minutes come down a little bit, you got your third pair comes down a little bit, and it just gives us you add a player like that, it brings everybody back and keeps everybody kind of where they should be.
And is he right back up to speed? Like we'll be able to quarterback that power play?
Yeah. He's if he's in, he's in. He's full steam.
What are the challenges going forward? Obviously, speaking of is probably the major one, but you've got games that are game practice day, which is, I assume, ideal other than that 3-game road trip. But you're down to, 14 games?
14 games, yeah.
And is it kind of one eye on still getting into the playoffs because it hasn't been accomplished, and the other eye on being ready when you get to the playoffs? Can you just go through all that?
No, that same eye has been the same thing since the start. And you manage your schedule with the games you have and the practice time you have. And once you get later on in the year, rest becomes a big factor. But preparation, or first of all, you're preparing to win every night, because you don't get to be a playoff team unless you win enough in the regular season. So every game is important. We're not in the playoffs yet, so we have to earn the right to be a playoff team. So to keep doing that, you got to get better every day, and that's practice or rest or whatever it may be. So you manage the schedule. We haven't had a lot of time to practice because of our schedule lately, and that's probably not going to change much. This week we'll have, on Tuesday we'll practice probably the first time in 10 days, have a full practice. So you want to continue to make sure your team is prepared and ready for each game. But that being said, that preparation goes into earning the right to be a playoff team, and then if you get to be a playoff team, all that preparation we've done from day to day as we go on here has got you prepared for that. So they kind of go hand in hand, Terry, where both of them are like, we're worried about this game tonight, being prepared and playing well in this game tonight. And if we do that, hopefully some of the things that we do tonight prepares us for the last 13 after tonight and prepares us for a playoff spot. So they go hand in hand, what you're talking about, but there is, every day we talk about it. We talk about where are we today and where do we want to be 2 weeks from now and a month from now.
With Clefbaum coming back in, you've got a regular NHLer coming out. You've got Mike Green sitting there waiting, when he's healthy. Yeah. You've got players like Athanasiou and Neil playing in your bot. Do you feel that there's as much depth?
Yeah, you're going to need, like we just went through a stretch where we were begging for guys, and now we're finally getting healthy. But, you're looking at, we said it on the road trip, we feel like we have a more veteran group here right now, and we feel like we're starting, with these players come back, we have the depth to compete with some of the teams that you would consider deep teams. So, down the stretch here, we play a lot of games down the stretch in a short amount of time, and then you get into playoffs. If you think you're going to get by with 6 defensemen, you're wrong, right? So you need at least 8 that you can plug in at any time, and I think we're gonna have the 8 or 9 that we feel like we can plug in, and forwards also. That's part of the reason we've looked at JJ at center here. We're just looking at the depth at center, that if we get into a pinch with some injury situations, we know we have that depth all the way through. So it kind of goes, look, we were just talking about, it's day to day, but there's also preparations that you're putting into place to make sure that your team continues to improve and earn the right to be a playoff team, and then have wherewithal to play well in the playoffs.
Dave, you like to go a right shot defenseman or the left shot. The
Yeah.
third pairing's got 2 lefties.
Yeah.
What is your rationale for playing Caleb rather than Benning?
Just the puck moving a little bit today. I thought Jonesy's been pretty good puck moving, and so we'll see. That one will be a daily discussion, because Benny's actually played all right. Rusty's come back. The one thing that we talked about today a little bit, as much as Clefbaum is right up to speed, we want him to, if he's going to be heavy on one side, I'd rather see him be heavier on the power play, and then Rusty can take a little bit of that penalty kill. So that's Russell's in there with that. So, but that, as we go forward here, we'll make sure everybody's prepared. I can't tell you one reason. Okay, Benny's out because of this, or Jonesy's going to be out because of this. That's going to be a day-to-day discussion.
And Athanasiou, is it his attention to detail that has to be worked on in terms of when he doesn't have the puck?
Yeah, a little bit of that, but he's coming. What we're trying to do with him, and I spend a lot of time with him, is just we want to try to build a base for the player, that he knows exactly what's expected, and he has some talent. Like even the third period in Chicago the other night, he stepped in there and ripped one shot off the crossbar. It's like there's some starting to see some signs there, but I think he's been a real respectful guy. He's come in, he wants to contribute, and we just have to build a base in his game, and I think he'll continue to improve. And you've seen little glimpses of hopefully what's to come, but I think he's still in that place where he wants to have a working position. He wants to get down there and make sure he's putting the work in. And there's been some ups and downs a little bit, but I like the way he's trending. He's trending the right way, and I think as we move forward, he'll continue to improve, and I think he's going to be a good player for us.
With that in mind a bit, is this the line change you made today, or changes, I guess, do you see that as a bridge to giving these re-entering guys and the newcomers some more time to get up to speed, if that's the right word, or are you kind of looking at this long term?
I don't think it's a bridge to, we're trying to find where they best fit, So it's not a bridge to something else. We've tried them kind of with different mixes, and you're just trying to find the right fit. I'm a big believer in your lineup's got to have rhythm in it, like the rhythm you go through it, and rhythm can get out of rhythm with special teams during the game. So you have a rhythm and the way you play certain lines against certain teams, or matchups you're looking for, or just balance in your line. That's what we're trying to find, that rhythm in our lineup, the best rhythm possible. And we've been when you add new players like that, along with injured players come back, your lineup gets kind of herky-jerky, and we're trying to find a rhythm that we can run with a little bit that we think will work.
At any stage were you considering the dynamic duo back together? Again, I think I know the answer, but
I like the dynamic duo part right now, so we're not.
And the other thing is, how do you intend to manage your goaltenders going forward?
Schwartzy and we spend a lot of time talking about that, and some of it is dictated by schedule and games. You look at next weekend, we play Sunday afternoon and Monday night, so they're both going to play, but we want to make sure they're both up and ready to play. Some of it, we have some talk about, who might play well against another team, who's got a good day of practice underneath them, who's a fresh guy. I mean, there's a lot of conversation that goes into it. The the underlying factor is, I mean, our players believe in both of them, and I've never been around a team where I've always kind of had a number one guy, and then the second guy you're sliding in, and everybody knows when the second guy is coming in. We don't really have that second guy. Every time, you know, we put the guy in, and he's the goalie for the night, and away you go. You know, so that's a good feeling on our team, that whoever goes in, our players believe they can get the job done. When do you decide that? After game 82. All right.